Hey guys, this is part 2 of my Derpy tutorial. If you haven't seen part 1, it's linked in my description, or you can go to my channel to find it, and I'll see you guys back here after you finish part 1. Alright, to crochet the head, we are going to start from this point where our stitch marker is marked at. So this is the first stitch of our head round. Basically we are going to be crocheting around the front loops of our chain 12 from earlier and then down the sides here, and this will be how our head starts. So I will take my blue yarn and I'm going to attach it with a chain 1 and a single crochet. Oops. So I'm going to do 3 increases across the 3 stitches. So this is 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 3 stitches. One increase, two increase, and 3 increase. And in the last increase, I'm going to switch to pink for the ears. So this is my pink yarn. And I'm just going to attach the yarn like this. And I'm going to do a single crochet, double crochet, double crochet, and a single crochet all into this next stitch. So 1 single crochet, and then to do a double crochet, you wrap your yarn around your hook before you go into the stitch, pull up. There should be 3 loops. You pull through 2, and then grab more yarn and pull through the other 2, and then 1 more single crochet. And in this last single crochet, I'm going to be switching back to blue. So this was 1 ear done, and now I will be doing 4 single crochets in between this ear and the next ear. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In this 4th single crochet, I'm going to be changing to pink and doing a single crochet, double crochet, single crochet in the same stitch. So single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, and I'm gonna switch back to blue. And we're going to basically mirror what we did on the other side, because we did 3 increases before we got to the ear. So I'm going to do 3 increases on this side as well. So 1 increase, 2 increase, and 3 increase. So this is what the head should be looking like right now. We got our 2 ears and we're building around the head. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off my pink yarn, because I've already basically crocheted it into with the blue yarn, so I don't need to weave in any of my ends or anything. And now after our 3 increases, I'm gonna be doing a half double crochet and a half double crochet increase 3 times. So I'm gonna be doing a half double crochet here. So to do a half double crochet, I wrap the yarn around once, put it in the stitch, and then I grab the yarn and pull it through all 3, like that. And then on the next stitch, I'm gonna do a half double crochet increase. So 1 half double crochet, and in the same hole I'm going to do another half double crochet, like so. And then in this chain 1 space, I'm going to do a half double crochet in the back loop only. And then in the next, I'm going to do a half double crochet increase. And now in this final stitch, I will do a half double crochet. And we are done round 1 of our head. You should have 24 stitches in this round. And we're just going to do a round of single crochet for the second round. So this was where the chain was, so I'm gonna do 1 single crochet into here. Oh, also we can now move the stitch marker and put it at the end of our first round. And now I will just be doing 24 single crochets around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you get to the ear, I am going to actually skip the ear, and I'm going to single crochet into the stitch after the ear. So like this. 9, 10, 11, and then same thing, single crochet into the ear, into the stitch next to the ear, and then pop it out like this. And we're done. So you should have 26 stitches in this second round. Now to do the third round, we're going to do a single crochet decrease 8 times, and then another decrease at the end. So 1 single crochet, an invisible decrease, so front loops only, and then a single crochet, and then a decrease, and I'll meet you guys back here once we're done this round. So I just finished this round. You should have 17 stitches in this round. And now for the final round of the head, we're going to be doing 8 decreases and 1 single crochet. So 1 decrease, and now we're going to chain 1 and fasten off. So I'm going to leave a kind of long tail for sewing, maybe around here. So just pull through and pull tight. And yeah, this is what your head should look like right now, with the ears and the hole. So we're going to sew this close, and then we're going to thread this yarn to the back and sew this close as well. So I'm just going to remove this. thread my yarn through my needle, and I'm just gonna go through the front loops of every single stitch and sew it close. You pull, and there we go. And then I'm just gonna weave it to the back. Maybe if you have some holes, you can take this time to sew it close. And I'm just gonna weave it to the back here. And once we got to the back, so we skipped 6 stitches earlier, we're gonna have 6 stitches left, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing where I just thread my yarn through the front loops of all 6 stitches. And now I'll just pull close. Make sure you don't pull on the head, like you want to pull the back close, but it might like tighten the stitches around the head. So just make sure you keep it loose over here. And there you go, you have a head, and we're just gonna weave in the ends. I kind of like to just weave it into the back here to try to get the head to like look up a little bit more, but you can just weave it wherever. And I'll just bring it up back here. Now we have the head and the tail, and I'm gonna stuff the head now with some polyfill and whatever yarn scraps I have from this project. There we go, and he should look something like this. Now for the belly, I'm going to be using white yarn. I'm going to be doing decreases around the belly like this. So here's my white yarn. The main thing to note though is that if you have trouble seeing the stitches, because sometimes I do, and if it's like the stitches are too tight, sometimes I just like to skip a stitch and just continue to single crochet like every other stitch. So you can attach the yarn anywhere. I'll just attach it here. I'm going to attach the yarn with a chain 1 and a single crochet. And now I'm just going to go around the belly. I'm going to do 11 decreases, but you don't have to be too exact with the numbers because again, the stitches are a little bit hard to tell. So you kind of just want to roughly decrease the belly stitches by half. So this is the first decrease. So the second decrease, this is 1 stitch, and this is actually the yarn tail from earlier. So the next stitch should be like here. So I am actually going to skip this stitch and single crochet into this stitch here. And just make sure you pull tight so there's not a hole peeking out. And then the next stitch, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna skip this stitch and I'm gonna go here and do a single crochet and pull tight. And then the next stitch, I'm gonna skip this one and I'm gonna go into this one. And pull tight. And then the next one, I'm gonna skip this one and do this one. And then I'm going to skip this and go into here. Skip this and go in here. And then I'm going to skip this and go in here. And I'm going to skip this and go in here. So I ended up with 13, 14 stitches. You just need a rough estimate of like decreases. So don't be too worried if you didn't get these numbers. And now we're gonna stuff the body. So he should be looking kind of like this now. You can stuff the neck more if you want the head to like look up a little bit. Also, I mean, crochet is like pretty malleable, so after you've stuffed the body, we're gonna close the belly by doing another round of decreases. So depending on how many stitches you got in the first round, it's gonna be a little bit different for you, but you just need to do a round of decrease. So I'm gonna do a normal decrease here. And then I'm gonna skip this stitch, crochet into this one, and then I'm gonna skip this stitch and crochet into this one. So I actually have an uneven amount of stitches, so I'm just gonna do a regular single crochet in here. And then I will fasten off and leave a little tail for sewing. I'm going to stuff the belly a little bit more, make sure he's standing properly, and then we're going to sew it close the same way we sewed the head close. So just thread it into every single front loop. And then pull close, and then I'm just gonna weave in my ends. If you notice that by skipping the stitches that there is any particularly big hole, you can use this chance to just sew them a little bit closer together. And then I will cut it and just stuff the tail into the body. This is the base of your derpy. Yay! Okay, so for the felt pieces, just for reference, this is what the final derpy looks like. I have this stencil sheet here. It's available in the description, so you can go download it for free. Basically, if you have a printer, you can print this out, and if your derpy is pretty much the exact size as mine, then these shapes should fit perfectly. If it's not, then you're just gonna have to wing the shapes. How it works is that I'm going to cut out the shape, and then I'm going to hold it against the felt and cut out the felt with the stencil. So, for example, I will just roughly cut this out. So this is my eye shape, and then I have this random piece of red felt here, and I will basically hold the stencil against the felt and just cut around it. So it looks something like this. Now I'm going to repeat this for all the shapes listed here, and I'll see you guys back here for some assembly. Alright, so I have the shapes like this roughly laid out, and now to glue it together, I have this old tray that I used to just put glue on, so that's why it looks so janky. And I'm just going to use my Aleene's tacky glue to glue on everything except for the pupils. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue here. Now I can take this random toothpick and I'm just going to put glue on where the pieces needs to go. So I just take a little bit of glue and I spread it around like this. And now I use some tweezers and I just put on the shapes like this. And now you just let it dry for a little bit. And now for the pupils, I already glued these on, but it's basically the same exact process, except I use this E600. And now I'm gonna put it on his face. So usually I wait for this to dry, but I'm not gonna do it this time, so hopefully nothing falls off. And now for attaching the felt details onto the face, I just like to go in with the glue directly from the bottle because I usually apply a good amount of glue. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball where the eyes are. I'm gonna say it's like roughly around the center of the head, a little bit higher maybe. So I'm just gonna put a bit of glue like this. And this is for the other eyes. What's good about this glue is that it dries completely clear, so I'm not usually too worried about making a mess with this glue. With other glues, you might have to be more precise. So I just have my eye here, and I'm just gonna put it like this. And other eye, like maybe around here. And now for the mouth, it should go somewhere like this. Okay, and then for the eyebrows, I use my toothpick again and I just draw little lines. I got glue on the body of my toothpick, but usually I just use the tip. And I just draw roughly where the eyebrow should go. And then using my tweezers, I just put on the eyebrows. So that's one side done. And I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side. I'm just going to apply a bit more glue to the ends so that they are secure. And now I'll just finish the nose and the dots in between the eyebrows. And I'm just going to let him dry, and I'll see you guys back here when he's dry. So the glue is now dry and I've removed the pins. And I've gone ahead and glued on the bud too. You can also just like embroider a little X. I'm just gonna embroider the stripes now. So I like to just do 3 long lines across his back. So I'm gonna maybe pull it around this long. And I go to the other side and I like to embroider in 1 stitch above the white. So into here. And I just thread it back, and I just thread it back the hole that I started with, and I'm gonna tie a knot, cut it, and hide the tail. I'm just gonna put in a tiny bit of glue so the stripes don't move around, so something like this. To crochet the hat, I'm going to start with a magic ring. A magic ring is basically a slip knot, but instead of completing the slip knot, you twist it and you just wrap yarn around your hook and pull it through the loop. So now you have a magic ring. And then I'm going to be doing 4 single crochets into the magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna pull this tight and use a stitch marker to mark the last stitch of the round. And for round 2, I'm gonna be doing 1 single crochet, 1 increase in the back loop only. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, flip this so it's easier to see, and take this out, 1 increase. And now I'm going to be doing a 3rd round of a single crochet increase, also in the back loop only. So I'll see you guys back here for the 4th round. So So this is the last increase. I've taken out my stitch marker to make it easier to crochet into. And now I'm going to be doing one round of 9 single crochets. So stitch marker back on and 9 single crochets. 1, 9. And instead of doing a chain 1 before fastening off, I'm actually just going to pull a loop up and cut it. So if you plan to sew the hat onto Derpy, you can leave a longer tail. If not, you can leave a pretty short tail. You just need a little bit for securing the yarn. So I'm going to sew it on, so I'm going to cut a little bit like this. Take out the stitch marker. And I'm also going to trim off the tail of the magic ring. Now the way this hat works is that between rounds 2 and 3, I'm going to fold it up so that there is 2 rounds for the rim and 2 rounds for the hat. And now I'm going to be doing an invisible fasten off. So what that means is I'm basically faking the last stitch. So you see this is a stitch here. I'm going to be skipping that and going into this stitch. And I'm going to be sewing the tail to look like a stitch. So it goes like this, and then I'm going to insert it back into the stitch that I came from. So don't pull it too tight, but it should look like this. You're basically crocheting a V. So this is the last stitch that we ended with. This is our fake stitch, and this is the other real stitch, I guess. Now we will sew on the hat. I'm going to use some pins and secure it in place as we sew. And now I'm just going to sew around the brim of the hat. And now I will just weave in the ends. And there you go, your Derpy is done. Yippee! You might need to squish him around a little bit, but he should be able to perch on your monitor like this. He's just chillin'. Now to turn him into a headband, you're gonna need one headband. Make sure it's a wide one and not a narrow one, because I find that the wide one supports him on your head much better. And I'm just gonna be roughly sewing back and forth between his belly. I'm going to cut my yarn around this length. And I'm going to secure the yarn tail with a little knot. If it's going on your head, I wouldn't be too worried about people seeing it, but if you don't want it to be visible at all, you can skip this knot. With the headband held against his belly, I'm just going to be weaving the yarn back and forth to secure him. Make sure he's centered on the headband. And I will just be weaving the yarn tail back to where we came from. Tie a couple of knots and I will stuff the yarn tail back into the body. And your Derpy headband is done. So he should be able to hang out on your head like this. So cute. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial and I hope you had fun making your Derpy. If you have any questions, just leave them down below or message me on Instagram or anything and I will try to get back to you. Okay, bye!